दोस्तों इस वीडियो सीरीज का हमारा अगला चैप्टर है रॉवल्स थ्योरी ऑफ जस्टिस। एक जूरिस्ट हुए हैं जॉन रावल, उनके द्वारा लिखी गई है थ्योरी ऑफ जस्टिस। इसके अंदर हम पढ़ेंगे मीनिंग ऑफ टर्म जस्टिस, प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस, लेजिटिमेसी, सोशल जस्टिस, प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस। जॉन रावल्स ने जस्टिस की एक थ्योरी प्रेजेंट की है। इस थ्योरी डील्स विद बोथ प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस एंड सोशल जस्टिस। उनकी जो थ्योरी है वो प्रोसीजरल और सोशल जस्टिस दोनों के साथ जो है डील करती है। इन ए रिस्पेक्ट टू प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस के रिस्पेक्ट में द थ्योरी प्रोवाइड्स वेरियस डील्स देयरफॉर विच आर बेस्ड ऑन द एलिमेंट ऑफ फेयरनेस, जो कि फेयरनेस के एलिमेंट पे बेस्ड है। इट आल्सो प्रोवाइड्स लेजिटिमेसी एज अ मोरल प्रॉपर्टी। इट आल्सो डील्स विद द नेचर ऑफ ड्यूटी ऑफ सिटीजन्स and extent to which the citizens are expected to obey. As regards social justice, Rawls has formulated two principles of social justice which according to him must be followed by a society. रावल्स की थ्योरी के अनुसार यहाँ पे दो प्रिंसिपल्स फॉर्मुलेट किए गए हैं जो कि सोसाइटी के द्वारा फॉलो किए जाने चाहिए। अब यहाँ पे बात कर लेते हैं मीनिंग ऑफ द टर्म जस्टिस। जस्टिस का मतलब क्या है? द टर्म जस्टिस कैन नॉट बी प्रिसीजली डिफाइंड बट इट मे बी कॉल्ड एज अ प्रॉपर ब्लेंड ऑफ द पैरामीटर्स लाइक फेयरनेस, इक्वेलिटी, लिबर्टी एंड बैलेंस। यहाँ पे जस्टिस का कोई एक मतलब यहाँ पे डिफाइन नहीं किया गया है, लेकिन इनका कहना है कि ये बिल्कुल एक दूसरे से मिलते जुलते हैं, जैसे कि पैरामीटर लाइक फेयरनेस, इक्वेलिटी और लिबर्टी, बैलेंस। Some thinkers believe that these parameters alone would not constitute the whole content of justice. ये जो पैरामीटर बताए गए हैं, कुछ जूरिस्ट, कुछ थिंकर्स का ये मानना है कि ये जो पैरामीटर्स दिए गए हैं ये अकेले जस्टिस को डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते। अकॉर्डिंग टू देम दीज पैरामीटर्स डू नॉट करेक्टली एंड एक्यूरेटली एक्सप्लेन व्हाट जस्टिस इज। ये अकेले नहीं बता सकते कि जस्टिस क्या है। They say that there are several other conceptions to be considered, particularly when justice is looked in relation to the need and use by the state and society as against the individual. Therefore, several nations and their variants needs to be considered in respect to justice. In National Legal Service Authority versus Union of India, the Apex Court explained the conception of justice considering the view of Aristotle, Kant, Locke, Goldman and Rawls. It was held the conception of justice as fairness combined with distributive justice must be considered in granting due to recognition to justice. Next है यहाँ पर procedural justice. By procedural justice, Rawl meant the result that flow from a procedure adopted for justice, यानी कि कोई रिजल्ट जो किसी प्रोसीजर से निकला है और जस्टिस देने के लिए उसको अडॉप्ट किया गया है। ही क्लासीफाई प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस इन 4 काइंड्स, यानी कि रावल्स ने क्लासीफाई किया है इसके 4 प्रकार प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस के। पहला क्या है? परफेक्ट प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस, इम्परफेक्ट प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस। थर्ड है प्योर प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस एंड क्वेसी प्योर प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट हमारा यहाँ पे परफेक्ट प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस। परफेक्ट प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस, अ परफेक्ट प्रोसीजर is that which leads to a contemplated and a just outcome or stake or affair in every instance. In other words, if a procedure generates just and expected result consistently without failure, it is a perfect procedure and the outcome is perfect procedural justice. यानी कि कोई प्रोसीजर है जो बिल्कुल एक्सपेक्टेड और लगातार जो है सही, बिना किसी फेलियर के सही जस्टिस, सही आउटकम दे रहा है, वो बन जाता है परफेक्ट प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस। हाउएवर इट मस्ट बी नोन एज टू विच आउटकम और स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर शेल आउटकम टू जस्टिस एंड who ought to get what as matter of justice. If the same is proceed by a procedure, it is perfect procedural justice. The इंग्रेडिएंट्स ऑफ परफेक्ट प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस। हम यहाँ पे परफेक्ट प्रोसीजरल जस्टिस के इंग्रेडिएंट्स बताए गए हैं। सबसे पहला बताया गया यहाँ पे अ पर्टिकुलर आउटकम मस्ट बी कंसीडर्ड टू बी द जस्टिस पनिशमेंट टू गिल्टी। सेकंड है सच अ रिजल्ट मस्ट बी contemplated guilty is reasonably and legitimately expected. The same result must be proceed by adopting a particular procedure. The guilty is punished. Such a just outcome or state of affair must be produced consistently in every case. The guilty must be punished in every matter without a single instance of failure. अगला है यहाँ पे imperfect procedural justice. An imperfect procedure is that which leads to a contemplated just result, but not in every instance. In other words, if a procedure generates just result in most of the cases but misses out sometimes, it is an imperfect procedure and the outcome is imperfect procedural justice. For example, if it is known what justice demands and who ought to get what as a matter of justice, and same in proceed by a procedure most of the times but not every time, then it is imperfect procedural justice. In a fair trial, it is expected that the guilty shall be punished, but sometimes the guilty goes unpunished or an innocent person is punished. It reflects imperfect, imperfectness of the procedure. Such result called imperfect procedural justice. The essential ingredients of imperfect procedural justice. The first is a particular outcome must be considered to be the justice. Example, punishment to guilty. Second is such a result must be contemplated. Punishment to guilty is reasonably and legitimately expected. The same result must be produced by adopting particular procedure. Example, the guilty is punished. Fourth point, such a just outcome must be proceed in most of the cases but not in every case. And there must be few instances of failure wherein the guilty is not punished. Next यहाँ पे pure procedural justice. If it is not clear what justice demands or who ought to get what as a matter of justice, but a fair procedure adopted to arrive substantive justice, it is called pure procedural justice. Hence, the result are not contemplated, but the justice is achieved through a fair procedure. The fairness of the procedure itself is sufficient to establish that justice has been done. In other words, to determine whether an outcome amounts to justice or not, the fairness of the procedure alone needs to be considered. If the procedure adopted in arriving at a certain result was fair, then justice is deemed to have been achieved. Next है quasi pure procedural justice. If the fairness of the procedure is sufficient to establish the justice, it amounts to pure procedural justice. But when the fairness of a procedure is insufficient to establish the justice of the results, it is called quasi pure procedural justice. Next one is perfect procedural justice and imperfect procedural justice. Both perfect and imperfect procedural justice require an expected just result to flow from a particular procedure. But the distinction lies in the consistency. If such results are produced consistently in each and every instance, the procedure is perfect and the perfect procedural justice is achieved. But if the consistency is lost and there are instances of failure, the procedure is imperfect and leads to imperfect procedural justice. Legitimacy. Legitimacy is a moral property clearly distinguishable from justice. Coercive action of the state shall be just if it is satisfy the demands of justice. It is legitimate when its exercise is supported by right. A Coercive action of the state may be just but not necessarily legitimate. Controversially, a coercive state action may be legitimate but unjust. Is obeying the law and civil disobedience. Raval says that an ordinary citizen or subject is bound to comply with the legitimate laws. It is his natural duty, whether he has take any voluntary undertaking relating to obedience of laws or not. He must have it by law, but in certain cases, obligations to observe the law falls on a citizen or subject by virtue of their voluntary undertaking. For example, some government officials are required to give undertaking to obey the law. In such cases, the obligations to abide by law is a undertaking and not by their natural duty. The natural duty of citizen or a subject compels him to observe such and every law. There is no scope of disobedience. Similarly, the obligations created by the voluntary undertaking given by a citizen or subject binds him to it by each and every law. Thus, it is clear that neither the natural duty nor an obligation allows any defiance of any legitimate law. However, civil disobedience and refusals are sometimes morally permissible or may be even morally necessary. Social justice. John Rawls believed that a society is more or less a self-sufficient association of persons and there is system of cooperation amongst members. Therefore, the members voluntarily accept and follow certain rules of conduct in their mutual relations. These rules lay foundation of principles of social justice. These principles govern the society as a whole and not the individuals, but being members of society. These individuals are also controlled by these principles through indirectly. The social justice, therefore, relates to a society. Each member of the society is vested with certain rights, such as right of mutual equality, right of protection, or a reciprocal right. In case of contravention of any right, the aggrieved member may enforce the same against another member while claiming his right. The claimant shall legitimately expect justice and the social justice shall have to be meted out. But if there is no society and the individual lives singly, there can be no right vested in the individuals. As such, no question of enforcement arises, and consequently, there can be no expectation or demand of social justice. Therefore, as long as individuals live singly, the social justice does not come into play. But the moment the individuals joins together and form a group, which eventually turns into a society, the need for social justice is felt in respect to their mutual equality, protection, and reciprocal rights. Next up, principles of social justice. Rawls applies his theory of social justice to the basic social structure. The term basic social structure refers to the total set of institutions which, which constitute the polity. It means a unified and rule governed system within which the components institutions function. The institutions which are part of the basic social structure include the government offices, the legal system, the markets, the civil society, the business corporation, the family, etc. According to Rawls, if universal justice in a society is to be achieved, the element of self-interest has to be kept aside ordinarily while considering the parameter and content of justice. Every individual is concerned about protection of his own interest, but as member of a group or a society, one must forget everything about himself. One must disagree who he is, whether a male or a female, and whether poor or wealthy. One must also ignore his race, his position in society, his skills, and his potentials. Rawls propounded two principles within his opinion need to be followed by a group or a society. रावल्स ने दो प्रिंसिपल्स बताए हैं जो किसी सोसाइटी और या किसी ग्रुप द्वारा फॉलो किए जाने चाहिए फॉर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ जस्टिस. द फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल रिलेट्स टू इक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ बेसिस liberties among the constituent members of the society. The second principle relates to equal distribution of opportunities and resources among the individuals forming part of the society. These principles maintain fairness as the content of justice according to Rawls. These principles are essentials to govern the society and to balance the social and economic inequalities created by the law and policies. First principles, the principles of liberty. The principle of liberty demands equal basic liberties for every member of the society. It means that the basic liberty like through conscience, speech, association, participation in political decision making, etc. must be equally available to all. Each individual of a group or society must have right to maximum number of fundamental liberties. However, such liberties can be availed as long as no individual is denied the same. This principle further requires constitutional protection of basic liberty. It emphasizes the need of a recognized system to ensure that no one is deprived of these liberties. The system must be enough to uphold adequate enough to uphold the fundamental interests of citizens. These fundamental interests relate to exercise of their two basic rights. Firstly, to form, revise, and pursue a conception of their own good, and secondly, to propose and honor fair terms of social cooperations with others. Second principles Second principle, the principle of distribution of opportunities and resources. This principle has two parts. The first part relates to distribution of opportunity and the second part relates to distribution of resources. The principle of distribution of opportunities demands that the laws and policies must ensure equality of opportunity. It means that equal number of opportunities shall be afforded to every individual member of the society. No member shall be deprived of an opportunity. The principle of distribution of resources says that it in the existing inequalities of society, the least advantaged must receive the greatest benefits. In other words, the maximum benefits must go to those who are weakest in the society. Thus, according to this principle, the weaker sections of the society must be allowed more benefits than others. Both the principles must be compiled together. The two principles for the two principles put forth by John Rawls are given in serial order. They need to be compiled together. Any contravention of the first principle shall lead to violation of the second. Similarly, and breach of first part of the second principle shall render the second part contravened. Principles apply directly to basic social structure. These two principles apply to the basic social structure as a whole and not to the constituent thereof. As already mentioned, basic social structure is complete set of institutions forming a polity. Principles do not directly apply to the components of basic social structure. These two principles directly apply to the basic social structure as a whole but not to particular element thereof, such as a family. Family is an ingredient of basic social structure, but these principles shall not be directly applied to it. However, it should not lead to an interference that that family shall always stay out of area of the area of these principles. Actually, the question is of their direct applicability. As far as family is concerned, these principles shall not be applied directly. Their direct application shall be to the basic social structure, but family being a part of such basic social structure cannot remain unaffected. Therefore, when these principles are applied to the basic social structure, the family is automatically governed by them. Thus, these principles indirectly apply to the family, being a component of the basic social structure. It can therefore be said that these principles apply directly to the basic social structure, indirectly to the constituent thereof. Sequence of four stages. The two principles of justice formulated by Rawls apply to the basic social structure, but their application may be secured stage by stage. It is not possible to apply them in a single stroke. Therefore, Rawls presented sequence of four stages for the purpose of justice in a society. First stage, the polity must choose the principle of justice which are best situated to their need in light of their own historical condition. Second stage, the polity must evolve a constitution and develop a system of laws and policies in tune with the principle of justice adopted by them. Such constitutions and system must suit to their historical and economic conditions. These responsibilities thereof falls on the lawmaker. Third stage, the laws the laws and policies must be enacted subject to limitation of the two principles of justice and the constitution. Fourth stage is there must be adjudication of disputes subject to the limitation imposed by the principles of justice, the constitution and the laws and policies. तो दोस्तों ये था हमारा चैप्टर थ्योरी ऑफ जस्टिस का।